Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of XR Talk Show. So today I'm going to code emacs lisp, and so I'm going to teach you emacs lisp. Okay, and we are going to code a command live, and this command is called space to new line. Now let me demonstrate what that is. Okay, so for example, you have a text. So you have lots of text. Let's say that. Okay, let's make it a long line, one big long line. Okay, so sometimes you got a long line and you want to replace all the space by a new line. In other words, you want to replace space by new line like this. Okay, so I call a command. Done. Okay, so you see now every word basically is a new line. Now actually that's not a good example, so we are going to code that. Okay, so this is going to be 20 or 30 minutes. Then after that I'm going to maybe answer some questions for 10 minutes. Let's see, am I alive? Am I alive and kicking? Video check, audio check. Okay, good. Okay, so if you have emacs questions for me, ask me. Okay, and donate. Don't forget, PayPal me, buy me a drink, PayPal, Patreon, whatever. You can find the link on my website. Be a sponsor. Today's show is sponsored by you. Okay, so space to new line. So let me show you an example where this makes sense the most. Okay, so if you are a programmer, you need this often. So let me show you where. Wait. Okay. Dun. Okay, so let's look at this source code. Okay, here's a good example. So you can see here is my my emacs lisp code, HTML attribute names. So you have HTML attribute, so they are one single line. Let's turn on the highlight current line so you can see. So sometimes when you need to edit this code, it's hard to see. So put a space there, put a new line there, then call the command. Now it's easy to see. Now you can see HTML attribute names. So you see undo, redo. So you see that's what this command is for, and we are going to write that. Sometimes like this occurs often. Like in many situations, you have this case, and for me, for the code, sometimes I want to compact it. So you see, anyway, so that's not important. So that's the purpose of this this command. Okay, and we are going to code it. So let's look at I already wrote the command. So let's look at the source code. So describe key, press the key to call the command. So you can see this command is called XR space to new line. Okay, and it's in XR flag keys. It's free online. You can get it. And the pink window shows all my command calls and the keystrokes. Okay, the pink window. And I'm using Kinesis Advantage keyboard right here. And on top, that's the ultimate hacking keyboard. If you search for XR keyboard, you can find my reviews. Okay, XR keyboard guide. There are 900 articles. So there is my keyboard, Kinesis Advantage, and stuff. Okay, so let's get back to the code. So here is the code, XR space to new line, copy it, new buffer, paste it here, and make it emacs lisp mod, XR emacs lisp mod. So you can see the code is pretty short. Okay, so how I'm going to explain how the code works since it's already written, but there is one thing I need to change. That is, for example, sometimes you have a long line, but you don't want to break it in by space. You want to break it at certain other character places. For example, let me show you an example. Okay, so go back to talk show. So today's talk show page, this copy the whole thing, new buffer, paste it here, so you can see this is talk show page, and let's join all lines. So replace a new line by nothing. Okay, so sometimes you get this one single line HTML, very, very common. Basically every website, this is one long single line. So you want to, in this case, you don't want to break, it doesn't make sense to break at each space. In this case, you want to break at, for example, each of the, greater than or less than sign. So normally what you do is you copy that, then you do query replace. Okay, that's a command, built-in query replace. You paste, that character. Okay, can you see it? Yes. Okay. Then you want to replace it by the same character but with a new line there. So you do that, then you say enter, and you'll ask you each time. So yes, 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 and you can type a exclamation symbol to do it all. So you can see now this is easier to read. So in this example, you want to insert lines at some special characters, not just space. So for example, undo. So we are back here. So okay, let's close this. Okay, so what we need to do, let me go back to the code. So I need to modify this command so you can tell it to use a different character. Okay, so let's do it. So first of all, how does this work? So first, this command, first of all, you need a beginning cursor position and end cursor position. That's the P1 and P2 here. That's, in Emacs buffer, your cursor has a position. The beginning of a buffer is 1. Okay, it starts with 1. And okay, so you need a beginning position or end position to work on. So for this command, if you do not have a selection, for example, I can make a selection, do it, it works on the selection. If I don't have a selection, it will just work on whatever the current text block defined by separated by new lines. So if I don't make a selection, let's do it here. Okay, so let's try it here. Okay, new buffer. Okay, so if I don't have a let's do it here. Okay, let's copy. So if I don't make any selection, I just call it. It'll just do on the current paragraph. But if I have a selection, let's say select here to here, I call it. It'll work on the selection. You see, that's how this command. That's what this for. Get bounds of block or region. By the way, that is also free. Yeah, you can. It's this command is part of fly keys. So this get bounds of block or region, it returns a pair. It returns the beginning position and end position. If there's a region, this position is the region beginning and region end. Region means selection. If there is no selection, the beginning and end positions are the current paragraph. Okay, so you get that, you get the positions, then you set it to the beginning position, position 1 and position 2. So you begin with 2 positions where this command wants to work on. And this is a idiom. This is an idiom in Emacs Lisp, pretty common. Okay, lots of commands. You want to act on a region. If there's a selection, work on the selection. If there's no text selection, just work on the region. For example, when you want to copy, for example, I want to copy. If I don't make any selection, let's turn off this. Okay, if I don't make any selection, I do copy. You can see in the pink window, you see I called this copy line or region. It just copied the line. For example, I can paste it here, you see. But if I make a region, then copy, then go here, paste, you see. So this paradigm, work on selection if there's one is very convenient. So you don't have to force user to always make a selection first. Okay. So that's what this command is already doing. if there's a selection, work on selection. If there's no selection, work on the region. Okay, so once you got P1 and P2 position, that's a key here. That's a key in this block position. Then you what you do is you narrow to region. Narrow to region is a command very useful. It makes the buffer focused on only a region. So let's expand. Expand is called widen. That's that command, widen. It's very useful even if you are just using Emacs. So that's the command, narrow to region. So you narrow to the region, the beginning and end positions. Then you go to the beginning of the region. Point mean is the smallest position in the buffer. Okay, it's not 1 because you narrow to region. So the first character in the beginning of buffer is no longer 1. So you narrow to region, then you move the cursor to the first beginning of the region, then you do a while loop. So while search forward, if there's a space, if there's more than one space, and if it's found, when it's found, it returns true, then you do replace match by a new line. So this command, that's how this command works. So let me summarize. Okay, is that? I hope that's clear. So first of all, you get the beginning and end position. Then you narrow to region, so you focus on the region. Then you move the cursor to the beginning of the region. Then you do a while loop, and you start to search for one or more space. If you found it, then replace it with a new line character. So that's how this command works. This space to new line. So let's try it again. Okay. So for example, do it. You see. Okay. So that's how this command works. So now let's add a feature. So let's first of all write the documentation what we want to modify. So save this. First of all, save this XX today's date and the command name .el. So we save it as a file here, a temp file. Okay. So now, this command replace space sequence to a new line character in current block or selection. That's right. Now let's add a feature. Okay, if universal argument is called, let me do this. Okay, I'll explain. So if universal argument is called first, ask user to enter a character to replace. Okay, so so we are going to add this feature. So okay, so hello Justin, hello guys, let's start on emacs lisp. Flamio, so Flamio, what's your question? So okay, so we are going to add this feature. Let me explain what's universal argument. Okay, in Emacs, in many commands, let's go to let's jump diode. Okay, so you can see I call jump diode jump. I press a key, and that goes to the directory and move the cursor to the current file. So that's here. So that command is diode jump. Extremely convenient. With that command, you never call the metax diode. You never need that anymore. Focus on files. Use bookmarks to open files, and whenever you need to go to a directory, just diode jump. You go to the directory and put cursor on the current file, and you can move up and you can see the current directory. So that's diode jump. Extremely useful. Okay, we are digressing. Okay, let me show you an example. Let me explain what's a universal argument. Okay, so if you are for example, some commands, there are by default about 1,000 commands in Emacs built in, by default. So many commands. Some commands you can have it do a different behavior. Okay, for example, right now I'm in diet. So if for example, I want to copy the file path of this file, let's say, okay, so what is this .css mod? Okay, first of all, delete all the backup files. Okay, so I want to copy the file path of this .css mod. Okay, so what I can do is I can press W. You can do that too. So press W in diet. So you can see, let me move back here. So you can see the W corresponds to the command diet copy file name as kill. Okay, it's copied. Now let's create a new buffer, paste it there. You see? So it essentially copies the file name, the short file name. Okay, but let's try again. But what if, let's close that. What if I want the full path instead of just the file name? Okay, so you call the same command, exact same command. Okay, where is it? Diet copy file name as kill. Okay, you call the same command, but this time you press Control U first. Okay, Control U. Okay, actually, let me do it again. Okay, Control U. Okay, then W. Okay, now you can see. You see, Control U is the universal argument. That's the command name. And then I call diet copy file name as kill. Now, if I open a new buffer, paste. What? My mistake. It's not Control U. It's Control U. You need to give an argument. Oh my God, shit. Okay, Control U 0. Okay, then W. Okay, then open a new buffer, paste. So you see, you got a full path. So the point here is that, among the 1000 emacs commands, many of them takes a argument that will give it a different behavior. So in this case, the command is diet copy file name as kill, and you can copy just the file name, or you can copy the full path. If you want to copy the full path, you press Control U 0 first. So let me show you the documentation. So describe key. So let's do it again. Describe key W. So you can see W runs the command the command diet copy file name as kill, and it's bound to W in diet, and copy name of marked or next argument of files into key or ring. Key or ring basically means copy paste history. Emacs keeps a history of all your copies. Pasteboard. So Emacs has a history of pasteboard. Clipboard. Okay, so the name are so you can not just copy the file name of one file, but multiple files. I'll show you. Okay, so you see it says here, with a 0 prefix arg, use the absolute file name for each marked file. You see? So that's why we are doing the Control U first. Okay? So next time when you describe function, read some Emacs documentation, you become familiar with the Emacs jargons. So, look here, you'll say, prefix arg. You'll say prefix arg. But if you are new to Emacs, like what the hell is that? But now it's the full name is universal argument. You just give it a different behavior. Okay, so let me demo. Okay, so let's say I want to copy all these file path. Okay, so now I do Control U 0, then W. Okay. Now I open a new buffer, paste. There it is. That's the full path of all these files. Now again, you see they are not separated by space. So we need to make them into a new line. So we can do that with our own command. Fantastic. Okay. So that is about, so far we've talked about what is this universal argument is for. So we are going to do the same thing for our command, *space to new line, so that we can press Control U, then it'll ask you what kind of character you want to separate. Okay. So that is about Emacs usage, universal argument. Now let's code. How do you actually implement this? That's the key. What we are doing today. Okay, so let's go to Emacs blog. So you can go to an Emacs tutorial, and so go to Emacs tutorial and go to practical Emacs Lisp. Okay, and then you go to so we are in practical Emacs Lisp, and you want the command universal argument. So we have a section here, writing a command basics, interactive form, get user input, and blah blah blah, and get universal argument. There it is. So click on that. So here it explains how do you actually make your Emacs command to take a universal argument. Okay, it's okay. So let's code that. So that's what we need to do here. So it's a bit tedious to explain. So go read my tutorial. But I'm just going to, first of all, let's just code it. Okay, so let me just code it. So maybe you can see what I'm doing. So if this variable current prefix arg is true, this current prefix arg is a built-in variable. So if user pressed Ctrl U before calling your command, this variable will contain the value will be true. Okay, so if that is true, then what we need to do, so yeah, so if there's a universal argument, then you want to prompt user, you want to ask user what string. So enter a string. So for example, enter a character to separate. How do you do that? Enter a char to break line. Okay, enter a character where you want line breaks. Okay, something like that. So we want to prompt user. And how do you ask user a question? There it is, get user input. Okay, read file name, ask for directory name, ask for a string. That's what we want, read string. Okay, so here is read string. Okay, and the prompt will be enter type a character where you want line break. Okay, then optional init input, let's ignore them for now. Okay, so just that. So we will return a string. Let's clean up the code. Let's shrink a bit. This will return a string, so we need a variable to store the string. Okay, char to line break, something like that. Okay, char to line break. So that's the character we want to okay, so set q char to line break, then ask the question. Okay, so if there's a prefix argument, then ask that. Otherwise, yeah, we need a lot to code here. So otherwise let's just say space. Okay, this is not so good. We need more work to do. So, but anyway, let's just do it for now. Okay, let's make the code cleaner. Let's show. Okay, so if there's a let's say, yeah, okay, let's just do that. Okay, so now this is not good. So let's say type a regular expression where you want to line breaks, okay? So if there's a universal argument, if user pressed Control U, then you ask them. Otherwise, it's 0 or more spaces. That's what space plus means. I mean that means 1 or more space, okay? Then here, then we can replace that part by that, okay? That's it. Okay? Evaluate the code. Let's try it, okay? Evaluate the code. Then let's okay, so let's then okay, hold on a second. Let's go to let's find some okay, here's a good example. So let's just okay, that's some good example. You know, this you know, so normally, let's call the command, okay? So normally, we call the command and it becomes that. That's not what we want, because it's breaking lines into space. I mean, it's breaking space into lines, okay? Undo. Rather, we want to break at each of these, you know, we want it to look like this, you see? We want to break at, you know, that between the brackets, okay? So undo. So now, let's try Control U, then call our command. Okay, then it asks you, you can see in the mini buffer, type a regular expression where you want line breaks. Okay, so the regular expression is gonna be right square brackets and left square brackets. Now, square brackets in regular expression has a special meaning, so you actually need to escape it. So you need backslash. Okay, that should do it. So let's do it. Fantastic! Almost. We got a bug. So it looks like. Let's go to the top. Oh yeah. So we we got into tricky parts. It worked, you know, it worked, except that our code is actually incorrect here, because we are replacing it by newline. Oh, okay. So there's you know, we can't just replace it by newline. We have to basically we need to add newline after that. So how do you do that? Let's see. So type a regular expression where you want newline after it, okay? So okay, so and here we need to put back the characters. So replace match format okay. So this format will add the chart to line break. Then let's try that, okay? Evaluate the buffer, evaluate the whole buffer. Now go here, let's try it again. Control U, then space to new line. So type a regular expression, we want line break after it. So let's do that. Okay, so the minimum, okay. Let's just do that. Okay. Invalid use of backslash in replacement text. Okay. So we need to escape. So now the problem is, okay. So far so good. Ergodox Easy. I haven't used Ergodox Easy. Ergodox Easy is one of the earliest mechanical keyboard. Let me finish the emacs lisp. Okay, so let me finish it. So let's see, 30 minutes. Okay, we already overdue. Okay, so so instead of using regular expression, let's not use regular expression. So here, regular expression, search for word. Let's just say search for word. Okay, no regular expression. Evaluate the buffer. Go here. Now let's call the command. Call the command. What? Okay, it's not doing anything. It's incorrect. So let's see. Oh yeah, so this needs to be just space. Okay. Evaluate the buffer and put the colon. Evaluate the buffer back here. Do it. Okay. Right now it's just replacing space by new line. Okay. Undo. Now Control U and do it. Okay. It asks you to type a regular expression. I mean, it asks you to type a character. Let's say right square bracket. Okay, do it. Okay, it works. It works. Okay, so I think, but the command is not perfect because sometimes you have multiple spaces. You know, let's reduce the number of lines here so we don't have to. Okay, so let's, sometimes you have lots of spaces. Then you get this situation where you have lots of empty lines because you have multiple spaces. So that is why we need to use regular expression before. But if you use regular expression, then you have other complexities because the backslash and you have to unescape it. Yeah, so but for now, I think this is good enough, for this tutorial. This is basic function. I hope you learned some, writing emacs lisp. Okay, so yeah, so we talked for 30 minutes. I think that's it for today. 5 more minutes, then we close down. Okay, insta key. Okay, I'm gonna unban you. Okay, so anything else? Let's see. I think that's it for today. Okay, let me talk about Ergodox. Okay, Ergodox keyboard is my obsession. So Ergodox is one of the earliest ergonomic keyboard. It's one of the earliest do-it-yourself ergonomic keyboard. Basically, year 2013. Okay, so year 2013 is you can think of that as a date, the beginning date of the ergonomic do-it-yourself keyboard craze. So 2013, about 8 years ago. And that is because, the 3D printers became popular. So we are looking at history, 3D printer became popular, and, ErgoDocs is the earliest. So ErgoDocs, it's based on, it's basically borrowed from Kinesis. Okay, it borrows the design of the keyboard I'm using, Kinesis Advantage. Go buy it. Okay, go to my website, Xali keyboard, and buy it for my links. Thank you. So it's based on Kinesis, and Kinesis in turn, Kinesis is based on Motron. So Kinesis began around 1993, and Motron, this is Motron. Motron began in 1977. Okay, 1977. And it kind of is the first one with a curved ball surface, but there are other earlier Japanese keyboard. Let's see, 1977 ErgoDocs. There are ergonomic keyboards. For example, this typewriter is 1935. Okay. And I'm not sure this is the earliest. There might be earlier. So anyway, ErgoDocs is the kind of the first do-it-yourself ergonomic keyboard. Okay, where is it? ErgoDocs. Okay, and it's borrowed from Kinesis. But one of the things many people complain is that the thumb keys is a bit too far towards the center. Meaning that if you are not a basketball player, who's got big hands, or black people, then you have the issue of constantly moving your fingers to the thumb keys. You have to move it too much. So that is a very common complaint of ErgoDocs. And in fact, if you read my, for example, here we have a friend. He showed, anyway, so there is an example who, this guy who is a big fan of ErgoDocs. He's a well-known guy in the keyboard community. What's his name? Geek Hack. David, okay, he's a big guy in keyboard community, this guy. So he wrote an article, he bought several ErgoDocs. Then he discovered, he started to have pain around his thumb, and he couldn't figure out what's the problem. He thought it's a tenting, so he adjusted the tenting, but it came back, So eventually he sold all his ErgoDocs, and he went back to the the normal keyboard. He went back to Leopold, I believe. So this issue about thumb is important. It also applies to thumb-based trackballs. For example, this I'm using when I lie in bed. Many of the thumb-based. So you want to be careful, and even on Kinesis Advantage as well. You don't want to keep moving your thumb. Instead, do this. Okay, move your hand instead. So when I want to press the thumb key, I don't do this. I don't do this. I move my whole hand here. If I want to press the control key, for example, I usually move my whole hand, like the whole hand. Consider them fixed. You don't want to move. You just move your hand instead. So that's an issue to watch out. So that's what I have to say about ErgoDocs. I never use it. I don't have it. Okay, so that's my analysis. And these days there are a lot variations, all based on ErgoDocs. So for example, the Moon Lander is a popular one. It came out a year ago, about a year or two ago. So, but they didn't really fix the thumb problem. I think the thumb keys is even worse. They made the thumb keys adjustable, but however, it's still too far inward. So, okay, that's my opinion about Ergodox. Thank you guys for watching. Bye, guys. How do you reset key mads? I have it all on my website. Just read it carefully. Are you the guy on Discord saying that the manual is no good? Kinesis Advantage manual is the best manual. Okay, just read it. Bye, guys. Close down in a minute. So here is today's code. Justin Hayes Jones from Canada. Haskell coder and Haskell and Scala. Bye.